they're doing all kinds of things to get these people's life back straight. That's they lose their loved ones. The Fiesta Bowl, we were there a couple years ago to watch those Sooners, and this Fiesta Bowl out in Arizona gave, I believe they pledged $5 million for the next 4 years to the 100 Club of Arizona. So it is a huge program. One thing that is not, we didn't really touch on this, is some of the life-saving devices and things that, and mainly seminars that we send police officers and firefighters to. A few things that we've done, we do a grant each year that we ask that everybody can send to us. We have a bunch of different firefighters and police officers that go on there and tell us what is needed. 2 years ago, we bought the Jaws of Life for the town of Panhandle. If you went through Panhandle, they had a pair of Jaws of Life that through the new metals on the vehicles, they couldn't cut cars open. Their average extraction time was like 45 minutes to an hour to get somebody out. With the new stuff, it's like, and Curtis, if I'm wrong, it's like 5 to 10 minutes. So it's a huge difference in what it's made between Borger to Panhandle to Tampa, some terrible highways through there, and they've done some amazing things with that Jaws of Life. This year, we bought Fritch fire truck. So Fritch actually now, through their, all the stuff they had there, they came in and we got some partners on that and bought them a new truck. We also did another program this year called Street Smarts that was brought to us through the Amarillo Police Department came in, and every law enforcement agency in the Texas Panhandle was invited to it. We donated, they had to pay for their hotel rooms. It was a 2-day program, and they brought in a professor or a teacher or somebody who literally taught how to do things safer. When they went up to, when you do a patrol stop, the proper way to try to just re-emphasize these guys, as James and I were talking earlier, go back to your training. And training is so important to these guys to keep them safe. Y'all had a major issue that happened this week here in Dalhart. And, I don't know the details to it, but it sounds like those officers' training took over and they had to do what they had to do to do training. And so, luckily, those two gentlemen, or women, I'm not sure how, get to go home with their families that night. A lot of them don't. That's why we're here. It's $100 a year for an individual. It's $100, like we said. What you get is a sticker that goes on the back of your vehicle. I will tell you, that sticker does help. When you get pulled over, I don't say, but I'm not saying it's a reason to do it, but it does help. I will say, that's all you get. We have an annual meeting every year. Last year we made it bigger and better. We had a firefighters. They actually did a cooking competition against the police officers, and it was a big hit in Amarillo. It's an annual meeting we have to have for our bylaws, but that's the only thing we have throughout the year. It's $100 that goes into the bank account, and when the inevitable happens, we're there to help bridge the gap and bring these families to where they don't have to worry about the funeral costs. They don't have to worry about it. Right now, as I said, Arizona's 350,000. We're right around 10 to 15,000, but we're trying to grow it. We're trying to be able to help bridge that gap and make it even better for them. That's what we are. That's what we do. In your brochure, I put a brochure. I'll be happy to leave you all with a bunch. The very back page is just basically how you become a member. If you'll send it to us, it's this one right here. You can see all the stuff. If you'll fill it out and mail it to us, we'll get your sticker and all your membership stuff sent immediately back to you. And all we can tell you is thank you. Thank you for standing behind the men and the women that stand behind the badge that protect us. And that's pretty much my president. Are there any questions? I mean, I'd love to do my best on the 100 Club to answer any questions.
In recent years, there's been a bit of fraud that's been associated with the solicitation for donations, especially with law enforcement. And as we all know, there's always this, we love them sometimes and we don't love them so much other times. And so there's always been a concern about donating money and if the money actually gets to the cause, what sort of...
We've been right there with you. I was talking about some earlier. In our we have bylaws that are strictly enforced. We have a group. The bylaws basically read that you have to be in the line of duty once something happens. We got a couple this year. One of them we paid out was the SO officer at WT, the sheriff office. They were doing a training, and I don't know if I have all the details right, but they were doing a training, and our explanation that came to us was it was kind of about the mass school shootings. They were doing a deal at the campus, and they had people, mannequins, and they had kids or people dressed up, and they looked like the mass shooting had gone through the building. He was doing a routine training, was walking through the building, and had a heart attack and passed away. Here you are in training when we lost one of our officers. Was that in the line of duty? Was he protecting you then and there? Well, we have a conversation. According to his commanding officer, absolutely. He was in there training, doing something, and it was so real, it affected him differently than others, and he had a heart attack. So, another example, though, where we got downplayed or we were frowned on was there was an officer on Christmas Day 2 years ago while I was president. On Christmas Day, 10 a.m. in the morning, my kiddos were opening presents. I get a phone call that we lost a fire department on his way to Pantex. Slid off the road on the ice and was killed. His brother was the paramedic from Pantex, was the first one on the scene to the deal. So they're saying, here's a guy reporting to duty, fired on Christmas Day. Does he get compensated? And his commanding officer came back to us and said no. We said, why? And he said he was reporting to duty on a normal day. He was not called in. And the way we were told was, I hope I'm answering your question the way, if I'm saying this, but what happened on him is he was not on duty. He was reporting to duty to be like driving to the fire station on a normal day, and the person driving the car was driving too fast and slid off the road. Well, if he'd been called and said, hey, there's a fire out here, you got to get here immediately, and he was not on duty, he was rushing to the scene, he would have been compensated. He was just reporting for normal duty, so we didn't. So we have very strict bylaws how the money goes and what it doesn't, but the main part is we rely on their commanding officers to tell us are they in or out of duty and how it takes place. Is that?
Well, how about